Welcome to Impact TV, a corporate venture video series in collaboration with the Kaufman Fellows. I'm Jack Crawford, a founding general partner at Impact Venture Capital, and alongside of my Impact colleague, Pat Bumpus, and my Kaufman co-chair, Alessandro Santo, we're thrilled to welcome to the show, Phoebe Wang, investment partner at Amazon. Hi, Phoebe, how are you?
Hi, Jack. Hi, everyone. I'm very good. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Yeah.
Let's see, last time we saw each other, we were at 1440 in Scotts Valley. That's an incredible facility for anybody who hasn't been there. Kaufman was hosting its module. I felt like I wanted to move in and live for a month, you know, health and wellness and good food and incredible atmosphere and obviously incredible people. I'm part of the graduating class of class number 16. You are part of class 28. And I'd like to welcome you to the Kaufman Fellows Program. And I'd love to hear about your acceptance into class 28, but also how your first few months have been.
I'm class 28, very, very happy and humbling experience to be part of this amazing group of people. And I've learned so much from Jack on kind of different life advices from the 1440 multiverse location. So definitely reach out to Jack and his team more on that. I learned a ton on that. So yeah, so for me, I've completed the first module recently and have done my first forum group as like many of the Kaufman Fellows on the call that would know it's a great experience to kind of get reconnected and especially kind of refresh what I have learned and then really apply that in our real life and then be the supporting group for each other. So I'm like living the dream, to put it the simplest of it. It's been great. Yeah.
Well, I got a chance to keynote and lead the workshop on strategic planning for life, and that was a great opportunity for me to spend time with you and I think about 50 other Kaufman Fellows there. You participated in that session, but there was a week long of sessions. Was there one or two other sessions that jumped out at you that you thought were really interesting as part of the Kaufman's first module?
Oh, absolutely. So I think many people, like when we first talk about like Kaufman Fellows, they would think, oh, it feels like a little mini MBA for VCs. But what kind of took me surprise is a lot of our first module is really kind of looking at your personality, being vulnerable, getting to know each other at a much deeper level. Is less about the technical things, because I think for my class, majority of the people have at least a decade of experience investing. But I think that really kind of self-discovery, understand who we are, right? So we have done a lot of personality, 360-degree feedback, and then also like we shared with each other the lifeline experience, like what's the ups and downs, like professionally, but more importantly, personally. I think that makes everyone a more holistic person and make the relationship much more meaningful. So I think that is one thing that took me a little bit by surprise, but it's really good outcome. I still remember kind of the fireside chat with my group and with the broader team, learning about their life stories, sharing my life stories. So that's a kind of very, very different experience to a lot of conferences that I've been to. So it's deeply fundamentally changed the perspective that I look at my own journey. The other one, like we can't really not talking about AI like in this setting, right? So we also have a session around how we use AI in our own applications, especially like as a VC. So we later on we actually had a follow-on SIG with like a women in VC chapter and talk more about like how to utilize AI tools for our on improve our operating efficiency and identify deals, deal memos, diligence, etc. So that stands out to me too.
Oh, great! Thanks for sharing that. Let's talk a little bit about your role at Amazon. So Amazon, $2 billion Amazon Climate Pledge Fund that you're involved with. Can you talk a little bit about your background and sort of what your pathway to the role that you're in now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Amazon, we have $2 billion climate pledge fund, primarily invest in sustainability and climate tech. The sole purpose is help Amazon, and also we have this climate pledge signatories, which include like HP, like Unilever, P&G. So these large companies, including some small companies, are part of this, what we call the climate pledge. And you can search it. We have like 400 signatories and counting. So collectively, we want to reduce our carbon footprint and potentially get to carbon net zero by 2040. So how are we going to do that? One of the key steps is actually investing in innovations, technologies, and business models to reduce our carbon footprint. So right now, if you go to our website, we have listed out a list of different sectors that we're really focusing on, including food and agriculture, circularity, mobility, like transportation in all different forms. We also look at a lot in the energy utilization, production, and storage. So we added like a nuclear recently to that stream. Building and building environment, if we think about embodied carbon, like all the buildings that we have has a significant impact in the environment. And we are also, given that AWS is one of the largest cloud provider in data center in the world, we're also looking at how to reduce power consumption for data center. So we have this low power compute and really supporting the rise of the generative AI and being able to build the clean or green version 2.0 for a data center. Yeah.
I appreciate those details because I think sometimes people are talking about the climate industry or the energy industry, and they don't necessarily go down to the subsectors. So the details there are particularly helpful as investors who watch this or and looking at co-investment opportunities with Amazon or startups trying to find out whether they're relevant to Amazon. That level of detail is really helpful, Phoebe. So thanks for that. You know, looking at your background and doing a little bit of research, it looks like you spent a little bit of time with oil and gas and petroleum companies like BP and Exxon, and now you're sort of working on sort of sustainability and sort of looking at the carbon footprint on behalf of Amazon. Can you talk a little bit about any significant differences from a corporate investment standpoint with your previous experiences as compared to what you're doing now?
Absolutely. So my previous role, so I've been working at like a few ventures group, like a BP Ventures, Shell Ventures, and these are more energy transition focused ventures group. I've also worked in Offers Ventures, which is more financial driven, but also like investing in clean tech back in clean tech 1.0. So historically, we see the clean tech or climate tech is more narrow, right? We look at a lot more in the energy transition. So like things like long duration storage, hydrogen has been like a pretty popular in the past few years, how we can improve the efficiency in terms of the energy production. But moving on to 5 years, let's say like in the past 5 years, we have seen like climate tech and climate issue is not a single like energy industry's issue. It's actually manifests itself to every single industry, every single company. I think now, today, at this moment, there's no other company can say like on earth, we're not looking at sustainability, right? So basically every company is a sustainability, is a climate company. Like we need to have our sustainability hat set on. And then for the tech industry, we have seen a lot of like energy consumption in the big tech. So Amazon being one, but also like you have the alphabets, the metas in the world also consume a ton of energy. So we're looking at how we can actually make ourselves more sustainable. So moving over to Amazon, it is truly an everything store. Every day I'm learning new things, new business that we have. So just to put that into context, we have like people usually know that we have Amazon.com, we have AWS, but we also have Whole Foods, which is like grocery store that people spend a lot of time and money in. We also acquired MGM last year. Now we are like proper movie and TV producer. We have Project Kuiper, like satellite business. We have One Medical, so it's like all encompassing. So if we're looking at how we want to reduce our carbon footprint, the technology that we invest in is actually touching almost every industry. So we see that the lessons that we have learned, the innovations that we have promote would have a large impact in the broader society. So in the sense that when we look at how a technology can help us improve our operations efficiency, reduce our carbon footprint in the scope 1 to 3, we want to share those lessons with the broader group. So Jack, I think what you do, you did really well, and also kind of the fellow partners over here, like Pat and Alessandro, like we convene a huge, like a corporate ecosystem. And by just sharing the learnings that I have with Amazon and then other people have with their own companies, I think it'll make a huge impact in the climate tech and climate space. Yeah.
One thing that's been really interesting to me is seeing Amazon evolve its thinking around corporate venture and corporate venture investing. It almost seemed like it was holding back a bit. And now if you look at Amazon today, you've got the Alexa fund and you've got, corp dev, you've got obviously the large fund that you're working on, some other things focused on supply chain. As entrepreneurs or co-investors look for the right sort of fund vehicle within Amazon, can you talk a little bit about fund structure and how those groups might work together or operate independently? It'd be interesting just to hear from your perspective on the inside. These new corporate funds have been created. How would you describe them and articulate how they work together or collaborate?
Yeah, so to orientate ourselves, all the different funds actually roll up to corp dev. So I'm part of corporate development. So that's kind of overarching business units within Amazon. And the whole corp dev kind of repertoire is a lot wider than just like a venture funding investment. So like think about the Whole Foods acquisitions, right? And then all other like Zappos being one of them. That's really well known. So all these acquisitions, large acquisitions, are also coming out from the corp dev team. So this is kind of really what I call a special force team in Amazon that are kind of looking out for the large giant and make sure that we are always like innovating from the mergers, acquisitions, and investments perspective. Now, coming one level lower, we have, as you mentioned, Jack, we have the climate tech or climate pledge fund, which is focusing on the climate tech. We're a $2 billion fund. Our sister fund is Industrial Innovation Fund, which is a $1 billion fund actively investing. And we look at a lot of automations, robotics, and try to improve our fulfillment center efficiency for Amazon.com and broader Amazon. And then adjacent to that, we also have Alexa Fund, which is like really looking at new technology that can help our device organization, which is like primarily in the Alexa org. And then we also have this catalytic capital, which is over $100 million that we're investing in first time or emerging fund managers and really kind of progressing our DEI goal. And then within the Climate Pledge Fund, we also have a female founder initiative that many Kaufman fellow probably heard me talking a lot about, which is where my passion is really trying to enlarge the pipeline for female founders and really help bridge the gap in the deep tech where I personally think that we should have women sitting at the table and making decisions. So you have all these kind of thematic funds, but we also have like ad hoc investments like that could be mergers, acquisitions, as I mentioned, and then also could be like minority investment. So I would think that Amazon is very comprehensive in terms of where we want to spend our time in and like what are the opportunities that we should bring in. Internally, like we are all like, if we're coming to Seattle, like everyone, most of the people are here in Seattle. We also have like Corp Dev office in New York and San Francisco. So it's people talk to each other a lot and share ideas as kind of covered by different, it's split by different coverage group, but there's a lot of cross pollinations in terms of ideas and collaborations.
I've been very impressed by you and your ability to articulate what's happening at Amazon, and I think that more women are getting into venture through the corporate venture channel. Obviously, I'm good friends with G at Hitachi, and she's doing some really interesting things and playing a leadership role there. I'm excited to see how you leverage the Amazon platform and the Kaufman Fellows network of relationships with your passion around bringing more women into corporate venture and VC investing. Let's talk a little bit about the Climate Pledge Fund specifically. Can you, for those that are less familiar with sort of the typical stage, geographic focus, typical check size, can you sort of break down, the investment mechanics behind the fund? Because $2 billion is a lot to put to work. And so, most people might think that you're just focused on sort of pre-IPO companies, but I know that, you're focused on companies that that are earlier in the financing food chain than that. Talk a little bit about, check size, stage of company, and any geography that you're targeting.
Yeah, so in short, we're like everything agnostic. So we basically, for our main fund, we do like from Series A all the way to pre-IPO, and we tend to help our companies throughout the lifetime. So like if we invest, if it makes sense, we will continue to invest and be introduced co-investors come in. Geography wise, we're globally focused. So like we have like US office, we have like European office, which is based in UK. Like right now, I'm also looking at a lot in the Asia Pacific investments. Recently, I paid a trip to Korea, and just like fascinating about the things happening in broader Asia side. And then I know that our next summit is in Africa, so there are a few companies that I'm going to visit over there. So yeah, so I think geography and stage is all pretty much like we can support basically everything that could be as long as it is strategically relevant to Amazon. Now, in terms of check size, it is a little bit tricky because I think we have seen all sorts of different kind of check size from a few $1 million to a few $100 million. But I think the sweet spot would be like really kind of focus consistent with the level that we come in. If we come in as a Series A, you can think about like $3 to $5 million as our check size. But then if we come in Series B or Series C, the check size will increase accordingly. And just kind of caveat, our main fund typically like a Series A would be the earliest that we come in. But for female funders, we're now working through mechanism that we can come in like as early as seed. So like really support the whole value chain. I would also highlight that we have this what we call CTA, like commercial technology adoption group within the Amazon. So think about it as the internal BD. So for companies that join our portfolio, right now we have 24 companies in our portfolio. We help them to actively looking at what are the different areas and business units that could manifest a great commercial opportunities for the startups. And the feedback from the startup founders is this is fantastic because having Amazon, one of the largest companies in the world, to be on your customer pipeline or even be on your customer list is huge. And sometimes like we can we can help the company to plan their product in the future. We can have a good forecast and help the company to scale up. So this is something that we call ourselves differentiated capital. So really kind of not only bring the capital, but bring a whole suite of knowledge and opportunities alongside with us.
Phoebe, when you're making investments, are you required to have business unit sponsorship? Are you always looking at an investment with a side-by-side commercial agreement? Maybe from an investment process, talk a little bit about the investments that you plan on making going forward, and how much you'll involve the business units in the due diligence or in and setting the table for a commercial relationship between the investments that you make and the portfolio companies.
So this is really case by case. So as you can imagine, for horizontal 3 technologies, it's so far out. Sometimes it's very hard to find a business unit sponsor or someone that can evaluate the technology or kind of say that, hey, we're going to do a commercial agreement. So this really depends on how mature the technology is and how important the impact that could be for Amazon kind of different applications. So, but then if the company is already pretty mature, we would love to bring our BUs at early stage so that they know, hey, this is a company that we might invest in, we can do some collaborations with. One thing that I would say that we're very, very careful about, what we call CSI, commercial sensitive information, kind of the sharing and safeguarding the information, because we know that all my colleagues, they're seasoned VCs, and I've been doing like a venture capital investments in the past 15 years, and quite huge of that amount is in corporate VCs. One thing that we always pride ourselves in is we want to make sure that we do the right deals, and then we leave the negotiation of the commercial agreements, etc., to the BUs. We would be the connecting tissues, but we're very mindful about the information that we share, etc., to make sure that it's fair to our BUs and it's fair to the startups and innovators as well. Yeah.
I've been attending key industry conferences over the last year, and I've seen an evolution with regard to sort of impact investing. And I wanted to get your perspective on this. It appears the world is evolved from strategically responsible investments, sort of avoiding investing in bad things, to ESG, to now an evolution to the UN Sustainable Development Goals framework. One of your classmates, Nicholas Savage from TDK Ventures, was on Impact TV not so long ago, and we were talking about how they were color coding their portfolio in line with the various SDGs. Does Amazon talk a lot about sort of the UN's SDGs? Do you frame it in a different way? Do you think about it in a different way? Maybe you could just give your perspective on the UN Sustainable Development Goals and that framework for both generating an investment return and having an impact.
Yeah, Nicholas is one of my favorite. I learned some of the best practice from him, so highly recommend that episode with him. From our side, we have the luxury of having the whole like a climate pledge group, which is a separate group outside the corp dev, but really in the sustainability side. So it's a few hundred people, like really like looking at different sustainability goal, how we can include not only the innovations and kind of technologies coming from the fund or corp dev, but also like in general, what are the best practice, etc. So this week we just roll out the sustainability report. I would highly recommend everyone to take a look at that. I think it's already downloadable in our website, and it's something that you would see. Definitely like the UN's goals is part of that, but there are a lot of more granularity in terms of Amazon's operations and how we can provide a much brighter sustainable future.
That's helpful. And in looking at positive impact and influencing and impacting the world, you're also balancing strategic value to Amazon and investment returns. And so there's these three sort of elements of each investment you make: generating a financial return, providing strategic value to Amazon, and positively impacting the world. How are you balancing those? Can you just talk a little bit about how you weight? Are they weighted equally? Are you leading with financial returns and then following with these others? Talk a little bit about how you weight those three different elements.
Yeah. So it's like a triple bottom line, right? And then if you count like this new initiative, female founder initiative, you also have the gender equity or social impact in addition to climate impact. So as many of you who is in the mix of the weeds like me, it's very hard to put a weight over there. The mental model that I have is really like thinking about the different steps. So like, for example, financial returns and then the financial feasibility. So in terms of techno economics, commercial unit economics, these are our kind of the first hurdle that we need to go through, because like in our collectively probably hundreds of experience in the VC, especially in the climate tech VC, we have learned is if a company cannot be sustainable on its own feet, right? That means that, if there's no like a venture funding dries out, because like if you look at clean tech 1.0, that's what happened. And two, if the subsidies, like right now we have IRA, we have BIL, those are like really good policies that support a lot in the recent movement momentum in the climate tech. But what if it dries out, right? Are the companies able to continue their operations? That's really important to us because we know that we want to invest in the company for the long run. So this the financial healthiness of the company is kind of the first hurdle. And after that, if there's a really interesting company, then we look at how much like a CO2 equivalent reduction that it can take, and what's the impact and what are the strategic relevancies for Amazon, whether we are able to find a BU sponsor or potentially kind of BU evaluator for the company. So that comes after like the company move across the hurdle for the financial evaluation. Now, in terms of the social impact, usually many of these companies that we have invested are pretty early. So what we are looking at are different kind of models, and one of the analysis, like LCA life cycle analysis, we usually would request pretty early on to the company to evaluate how their product or services or technology can make positive impact in the climate industry. So yeah, it is definitely like make our job, I would say, like more complex, but at the same time, like I think that's why we're getting up every day and feeling very energetic, because we know that we are making a positive impact in the world.
Let's shift gears and talk a little bit about how you collaborate with the VC community. I mean, we've had the benefit of co-investing alongside of some of the top corporate investors in the world at Impact Venture Capital. We've co-invested alongside of Intel and Zoom and Qualcomm and Applied Materials and Yamaha and a bunch of others. And we've learned a lot from them on not only where they're interested in investing by stage and by industry sector, but also the types of companies that they're looking to acquire. And so it's really helped us to create a bit of a corporate intelligence platform and made us a smarter seed stage investor. As you look at sort of collaborating from Amazon with other seed and early stage VC funds, is there anything in particular that you're looking for? Are there any ways that you found that you're successfully collaborating with them? It seems like sharing deal flow and collaborating on due diligence, but maybe talk a little bit about how you view sort of, how you might collaborate with venture capital community in the coming years.
Yeah, and Jack, definitely looking forward to maybe do some co-investments together. I'm very impressed of the deal flow that I have shared. Yeah, so for us, we definitely like we look at syndicate very with a very favorite lens. We don't want to be the only one investing in company unless we have very, very strong conviction. But we want to make sure that we actually collaborate and leverage the broader VC community, whether it's like pure financial VC with a great network, or like strategic VC that can complement the value chain in addition to Amazon. So we are VC friendly, VC and CVC friendly. We look at a lot of deals together. Like for example, for me, like my afternoons are mostly in the like catch-up calls. I have like a monthly, bi-monthly catch-ups with the different folks that I have look at deals together before, and I know that many of my colleagues and folks in the ecosystem are also doing the same. And like when we come in, I would say that we are very founder friendly, and we want to make sure that we come with like standard terms. We come with like strategic like additions to the investment, instead of kind of coming in with a huge side letter and etc. So we're pretty mindful about that. And I think if you talk to people that we have co-invested with, like Breakthrough Energy Ventures or Fifth Wall, etc., like they could give you like a good feedback on how we tend to work. And we are a lean team. I think Jack might not mention that we're relatively small compared to the mandate that we have. So, which also means that we can move pretty fast, and that we have good like visibility within the leadership team in Amazon, so that we can get a lot more like air cover and potentially like so I'll maybe take one quick example. Genesis is a company that recently we have invested in, and we kind of co-invest with Khosla Ventures and a few other VCs in the ecosystem. And very shortly after that, we were able to kind of make a marketing video for the startup, and the for many people that that the filming and have the whole filming crew coming out to shoot for the startup is expensive, but it's definitely like doable in our mandate. So we try to kind of bring different angles and different kudos in the mix. So we have curated a pretty good like syndicate group of VCs and CVCs who are happy to work with us.
Phoebe, do you envision leading a lot of investments going forward and taking board seats? I've been amazed that I think corporate venture is participating in now 40%, maybe more, of all venture-backed deals, and some of them, some of the corporate investors are stepping in and leading roles and taking board seats, many times board observer seats. But can you talk a little bit about how you envision sort of the investments going forward playing out, whether you'll lead those, take board seats, and what are the kinds of things that you would do to sort of add value beyond capital?
Yeah. So, yeah, I have been in the kind of CVC world for a while, and I don't think there's any kind of pulling back why people cannot like lead deals or sit on a board. In fact, I think as we develop, like we're 3 years old, right? As we develop our expertise or reputation in the industry, you would see us like moving more and more towards like lead co-lead and then strong co-investor position. For the companies post investment, we have a few different areas that we think we can provide value to. Sitting on board is definitely one of them, like being board observer and really support the company that way. But more importantly, we have the CTA that I have mentioned, the commercial technology adoption, like helping companies to like acquire Amazon's different BUs as a customer. I think that customer acquisition piece is important, like the marketing and PR insights, and to some extent, like helping like bridging the gap between the not really 0 to 1, but 1 to 1 million, right? Because Amazon's really good at scaling up. So we have all our like working backwards, the innovation like framework where like Jeff Bezos during his time kind of helped developed to help Amazon to grow from where it was in the 90s to now one of the largest companies. So yeah, so we very much want to share those learnings with the startups too. So we also have this Amazonians in residence program, and then also like mentorship for diverse founders. There are just in summary, we have like a whole list of like toolkits to help support companies post transaction.
Well, there's no doubt about that Amazon is the world's expert in scaling operations, and so them deploying that expertise in support of startups makes great sense to me. I'm finding that many corporates help with product market fit or market insight, and that's good, but I think what you're doing from the standpoint of scaling operations is really interesting. Just in the last couple minutes here, we'll go to the rapid fire portion of the Q&A session here. Just a couple quick questions for you on sort of how you manage your professional development and how you navigate through your time. Is there anything in particular for those that are looking at entering the venture industry, the corporate venture industry, that you would advise? Is there something that you do with regard to professional excellence or to put yourself in a position to be such a high performing corporate venture capitalist?
Yeah, so I'll it's not because I'm a Kaufman fellow, but I want to kind of share that there's this really good course called Venture Deals. I think it's with the Techstars and the Kaufman Foundation. It's a great course, and I think it has been like free in the past few years. I don't know whether it's charged, but even if it's like comes with a price tag, it's totally worth it. So I think that would give you a good foundation around like how what is VC, what are different kind of term sheets, etc. But we all know that the knowledge or academic knowledge is one part of or a small piece of the puzzle for the whole like a VC or CVC ecosystem. I think the network and then real life experience is really important. So I would highly suggest kind of find a few mentors, people that you look up to. You can have one-on-one with them or even just like emulate them, follow them on LinkedIn. You're welcome to connect with me on my LinkedIn. I share a ton of things that I do over there. And learn that way so that you set your time or you spend your time like as if you're already a VC. And I think the third piece is really trying to build out your like a deal knowledge. So you can do your pseudo portfolio by kind of advising a few startups and then being part of the group that way if you're capital constrained. But if you have some capital, like doing angel investments or just being an apprentice in a venture fund, I think that's super helpful because as I said, every case is a different one and you learn so many different things like sitting on different boards and then investing in different companies. So really kind of going into a real deal process, I think that'll teach you a ton and supplement the venture deals course that you can take. Yeah.
And then last rapid fire question for you. I appreciated including you in the strategic planning for life session that I moderated during the Kaufman Fellows program. You'll recall that I talked a little bit about sort of morning launch routines. What do you do in the morning to sort of, enable your body and your brain to sort of operate at an elevated state and bring your best, to each day. Is there anything that you do, as a personal sort of morning routine that helps you get into the right mindset, physically and intellectually, to sort of kick off your day?
Yeah, so I get up really early. Like I typically get up at 4. So my 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock is my solo work because like from 8, as I mentioned before, like it's always back-to-back calls till like a 5 or 6. So my morning, like, and I go to bed really early, so I make sure that I have like 6 to 8 hours of sleep. So typically, like I just wake up very happy, and then I'll start kind of doing work, and I prioritize work that will make me feel energized, and then will take a lot of intellectual capability of myself. So things like learning a new sector, writing an investment memo, dive deep in the diligence, like a data room. So those are the things that I found myself like I can very quickly put myself in the zone, and then using my morning clear hours, like that 3 to 4 hours, really kind of working on that. And that usually set my tone of the day because I feel like I'm pretty well covered in terms of the deliverables and the hard things that I need to do during the day for the whole day. And then I also have a very comprehensive to-do list, and I prioritize things accordingly. I also do a little bit of meditation if I have time, and then think about people that I should be grateful for, and sending my kind of good karma out. If not, like really texting, but I'm sending that like within my mind. Yeah.
Oh, thanks so much for sharing a little bit personally, and
Mhm.
clearly you're working on some very interesting things professionally, Phoebe. I've been very impressed with what I've learned from you, and appreciated the interaction. I want to just one last thanks to my colleagues Pat Bumpus and Alessandro Santo, and particularly you, Phoebe, for taking a little bit of time out of your day and sharing all the interesting things that are happening at Amazon and what you're doing in the venture ecosystem to play a leadership role. Thanks again for your time today.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. Thank you, team. It's really like my pleasure to be part of this great series. So really looking forward to future discussions. Thank you.